Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a three-team trade to talk about. Players will be moving from three different teams onto each other's teams, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the future of these teams will look like when these three players are announced. But in order to give you an opinion on the teams that are involved in this, it would be the Brooklyn Nets, the Detroit Pistons, and the Los Angeles Clippers. So, who is getting who? Let's discuss that here. The Brooklyn Nets will receive Landry Shamet from the LA Clippers. The Detroit Pistons will receive Rodney McGruder from the LA Clippers, and the Detroit Pistons will receive Luke Kennard. Very, very interesting three-team trade here, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very interesting to see who are ending up the winners of this trade. But the one thing I do have to say is I think Detroit is the one that lost this trade. But I want to go first in depth with the Brooklyn Nets. I thought Brooklyn Nets definitely were the winners of this trade. Receiving a player like Landry Shamet is a very, very, very good opportunity for the Brooklyn Nets to have a very decent defensive player on the team. Also, it's going to be interesting to see what will happen with the other point guards within the Brooklyn Nets side. Spencer Dinwiddie is still a big topic of discussion, and there are a bunch of players out there that we just don't know exactly what their future will be. But Brooklyn already have a fantastic side, and they've added a very good player, in my opinion, to that list. I'm very excited to see what the Brooklyn Nets will end up coming up with. One of the stronger teams in the East, it looks like, this year, and let's see exactly what they're made of. The Detroit Pistons giving up Luke Kennard and receiving Rodney McGruder. Look, to be honest, of course there are drafts and stuff that are going to be within this trade, and I am going to add those in as well. But talking about the players themselves, I think Detroit really lost in terms of this deal. I mean, Rodney McGruder only averaged 3 points per game, which is, of course, it's not ideal for a player for the Detroit Pistons caliber to get rid of a player like Luke Kennard for Rodney McGruder. Of course, I think Rodney McGruder is a much better defender, so there's an aspect there. But ultimately, I think the Detroit Pistons are going to be going for a rebuild. I think that's pretty simple for everybody. I don't think they're going to have enough to go and compete for a playoff spot. I don't think they're going to have enough to compete for even close to a playoff spot, to be honest. Now, with this, does that mean that the Detroit Pistons are looking to trade other assets? For example, Christian Wood is a player that will only be, I think, for the Detroit Pistons for the next year, because I don't think he's re-signing with them. Blake Griffin is still a player that's on a hefty amount of money. Could they end up finding a way to trade him to a contending team? And D Rose, I think D Rose is going to be the big one here, because Derrick Rose is on a very cheap contract and can contribute to a lot of teams, especially when it comes to competing for a championship. He can go to any team, come off their bench, and contribute by scoring around 18 points per game. And that's going to be very, very big for any team that will try to trade. With the Detroit Pistons here, I feel like they definitely lost the trade, but in terms of rebuilding, I don't think this is a terrible trade. But what they did lose, that the Clippers will be very, very happy to receive, is Luke Kennard. Now, Luke Kennard, what you're getting with Luke Kennard is a great shooter. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA. I do think he has a little bit more to his game than just shooting. I think in terms of actually passing as well, he's not too bad at that at all. But if you just look at his stats, man, he averages 16 points per game and 4 assists. So that is incredible. That's a very good player that the Clippers are going to get. Now, I don't think he's going to be averaging that much on the Clippers compared to the Pistons, considering the Clippers have a lot of players that will be taking the shots. But I think Luke Kennard off the bench would be an absolutely tremendous pickup. Another three-point shooter. The Clippers really struggled this year in terms of scoring the ball, especially in the playoffs. Paul George had a very terrible time in the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard wasn't the same as he was on the Raptors. The Clippers have a very, very good team, and they should be competing for championships. I think this addition might be able to help them on the offensive end. Defensively, I think Luke Kennard is not the best, but again, if he can work on that, and hopefully with a new coaching staff with the Clippers, he'll be able to get better as time goes by, and I think the Clippers obviously got a very good deal out of this as well. So in the end, this three-team trade, I know a lot of people that are on the Detroit side that are not happy about this, but again, we have to wait and see. I think Detroit truly know now that they're probably going to be in a rebuilding stage. They're probably going to be trading more assets. So let's just wait and see what will end up being the key to that team. And of course, the Clippers, championship contender, getting a good shooter. And Landry Shamet, of course, to the Nets is a good pickup for them as well. Brings some defense, some scoring, gets it going. Could be a very good backup guard, and ultimately could see Spencer Dinwiddie out the door. But even if he doesn't, it's still a great player to have on your bench. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Who won the trade, ladies and gentlemen? If I had to pick, it'd be the Brooklyn Nets or the Los Angeles Clippers. But let me know in the comments below who won this trade and where do you think the future direction for any of these teams will go. Take care and peace.
Perfect.